Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Friday edition of 5A. This is April the 17th still, and it's English class now. Today, in language arts, we got to read, probably not the whole thing because it was pretty long, but hopefully some of it at least. We got to read about Augie and him going to lunch and what his experience was like. And I think you see from the moment he walks in the door, it's like a whole bunch of new things. He had a lot to think about. Where do you sit? There's so many people. Some of them he knows, some of them he doesn't. The ones that he knows, some of them he likes, and some of them are not so nice. He talks about eating, even just sitting there by himself and eating. He's worried about other people looking at him. So I was thinking, we've talked a little bit about what it would be like if Augie were in our class. Or what if you were the new student like Augie in class? And that's sort of what I wanted to talk about today in English was just, I was thinking we could write a paragraph and just say, what would you do to make Augie feel welcome in our classroom if you were at lunchtime? We got to read today about him sitting at the lunch table. He was kind of alone. If you walked into the UCIS canteen at lunch and he was sitting there, what would you say that could be friendly to him? We got to see, hopefully, there's a little video right below where you found this one. A scene from the movie where Summer is sort of talking to Augie. It's basically some of what happened in our story today. But you kind of get to see what she does to him, and I think that's a good approach. It's a good place to start. So there's a little link that just says friendly lunch, and I gave some examples of the steps to follow and kind of what it should look like. But really, we just have to write a paragraph saying what you would do. The first thing to do, I would say, is think of some ways you could be friendly to Augie. I think it's easy to put ourselves in that place. You're sitting there, you're with friends, you're eating, you're laughing, and you see him walking over. Does he sit down? Do you invite him to sit down? Things like that. You know some of the things that he likes. If you like those things too, we could talk about them. He plays Xbox, but a lot of you guys play phone games. He probably knows some of those things. You might want to talk to him about that. He's a new kid at school. Excuse me. And you are an expert at the school. You know where everything is. You know what we're supposed to do. You know what days we have PE and things like that. You could tell Augie something about the school. Maybe there's some food at lunch you don't like. You could tell him, Augie, you definitely don't eat this. Or maybe there's a food you really like. You could tell him, oh, any day we have this food, you should really eat it. So you could tell him something about the school. You could just ask him questions about himself. You know that Augie has a sister. We haven't really learned too much about her yet, but I think a lot of us have brothers and sisters, and that's something easy to talk about. Does he like his sister? That'd be a good question to ask him, because I think we all have an opinion on something like that. You could tell him a story. Tell him something really cool that happened to you. I'm sure he likes stories. I'm sure he'd like to listen. So we just have to think of some examples of things we could say to Augie at lunch to make him feel welcome. And then, if you're still looking at the link that I sent you, the friendly lunch link, step 2, it says write a paragraph about what you would talk about. So in the first step, we just have to think of some ideas. The second step, we just have to sort of write them down. And I included an example there just to sort of help you get started. Getting started is usually the hardest part. And even on this one, it was a little difficult for me to think of how to begin this. But the example that I gave just says, if I saw Augie in the lunchroom sitting all by himself, I would probably sit next to him. And then I talk about the things that I would do, which you can read. And then after that, you're done. So this is sort of related to what we read earlier, but even if you didn't finish the reading, you don't have to know those things in order to do the writing. Really, I would just say picture yourself in the canteen at school and imagine that Augie walks in at lunch and he doesn't know where to sit. What could you say to him that would make him feel welcome? So that's what we're going to do. Just write a paragraph, 4 to 5 sentences about that. If you guys have any questions, or if this doesn't quite make sense, or if you want help coming up with ideas, that's what I'm here for. So definitely let me know. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful afternoon.